go to, Lynda. I hope I'm not catching you off guard here, because I think it would be good for you to summarize what you heard, how you view what you've heard here, and to pinpoint some of the issues that you think the panel should now engage in conversation.
Yes, you are catching me off guard. Hello. I think one of the things traditionally that women have done and has served creativity, has served men, is to be the space holders, to be the weavers, and weave together the threads of what has been spoken. So that's not to say that the role that I'm playing here, I think it's a very important role. You know, and invite us all to consider that. I also do think it's a challenging role, but I was struck with a number of things. I think Jeffrey had a very good, in my mind, way of explaining how he does what I would call some kind of integration of spirituality and psychotherapy without in any way consciously bringing in the word spirituality, but he brings it in with listening. He brings it in with his being, his incredible spaciousness. And I think he integrates more traditional psychotherapy, because I think he's right on when he talks about the case, that he is going to replay the transference that this woman had with her father. It kind of needs to be replayed to be, for her to find a new way, and for him to be as non-present as he is. So I think he articulates his version of an integration and shows one way to integrate, which is very different than, let's say, Sam's way, which is much more explicit, and perhaps even Locke's way. It seems to me that when Locke is addressing the case, Locke is suggesting that we learn very consciously to be mindfully aware of the non-manifest. I'm not sure how Locke suggests we do that with a client, but it sounds more like it's from our being, from our not knowing, from our not rushing into our heads, from our presence, from our truly meeting the client. I'm still not exactly sure how many people in this room would know what to do from a non-dual point of view, which is not to say anything except that might be one thing you might want to articulate more, what that really means. I think some of the issues that come up, and one thing I wanted to start with is the opportunity for all of us here, from so many points of view, is to, in this room, can we be mindful now of what is in our minds? Can we be open and aware and not go into judgment, not go into make wrong of anybody's point of view? Can we stay open and embrace everything? And then see what lingers in us. I think that's the biggest challenge, because this is a big task we have here, how to integrate. And so how do we do that? Are we working with ourselves right now to stay open, or are we noticing that we're being closed? It's not bad to close, but are we staying aware? And are we doing that in our non-manifest level, in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies? So I think that I really invite us all to take that challenge on. The other thing I'd like to say is somewhere when Sam starts to talk about really introducing spirituality consciously, I think it raises the question that the panel might talk about, which is technique versus process. I think Jeffrey was very clear that we're dealing with a delicate unfolding process. But I think when we start to raise things, we become educators and teachers as opposed to stay with the process. So I think the implications of when we're doing technique or process is an important one for us to consider in this. I could go on, but I think it might be time. I raised enough to give you what we might call at least an appetizer, you know, and to return now to the panel for further discussion.
Okay, thanks so much, Lynda. Yeah, let's turn it back to you, Jeffrey, and then we'll go over to Locke, and then we'll go over to the audience.
I loved what Lynda said.